Hello everyone and welcome back once again to the Bible. Each week we read out one chapter of the book of Acts. If you're not ready for the book of Acts, then don't fear. You can watch many other videos here at KonfluxGames. But if you're wanting to listen on, then listen with joy and interest as we read out Acts 23. Let's get to it. Glaring intently at the council, Paul began, "Brothers, I have always lived before God in good conscience." Instantly Ananias, the high priest, commanded those close to Paul to slap him on the mouth. Paul said to him, "God shall slap you, you whitewashed pigpen. What kind of judge are you to break the law yourself by ordering me struck like that?" Those standing near Paul said to him, "Is that the right way to talk to God's high priest?" "I didn't realize he was the high priest, brothers," Paul replied. "For the scriptures say, never speak evil of any of your rulers." Then Paul thought of something. Part of the council were Sadducees, and part were Pharisees. So he shouted, "Brothers, I am a Pharisee, as were all my ancestors, and I am being tried here today because I believe in the resurrection of the dead." This divided the council right down the middle, the Pharisees against the Sadducees. For the Sadducees say there is no resurrection or angels or even eternal spirit within us, but the Pharisees believe in all of these. So a great clamour arose. Some of the Jewish leaders jumped up to argue that Paul was right. "We see nothing wrong with him," they shouted. "Perhaps a spirit or angel spoke to him there on the Damascus road." The shouting grew louder and louder, and men were tugging at Paul from both sides, pulling him this way and that. Finally the commander, fearing that they would tear him apart, ordered his soldiers to take him away from them by force and bring him back to the armory. That night the Lord stood beside Paul and said, "Don't worry, Paul. Just as you have told the people about me here in Jerusalem, so you must also in Rome." The next morning some 40 or more of the Jews got together and bound themselves by a curse neither to eat nor drink until they had killed Paul. Then they went to the chief priests and elders and told them what they had done. "Ask the commander to bring Paul back to the council again," they requested. "Pretend you want to ask a few more questions. We will kill him on the way." But Paul's nephew got wind of their plan and came to the armory and told Paul. Paul called one of the officers and said, "Take this boy to the commander. He has something important to tell him." So the officer did, explaining, "Paul, that your prisoner, called me over and asked this young man to call you to tell you something." The commander took the boy by the hand, leading him aside and asked, "What is it you want to tell me, lad?" "Tomorrow," he told him, "the Jews are going to ask you to bring Paul before the council again, pretending they want you to get some more information. But don't do it. There are more than 40 men hiding along the road ready to jump and kill him. They have bound themselves under a curse neither to eat or drink until he is dead. They are out there now, expecting you to agree to their request." "Don't let a soul know that you told me this," the commander warned the boy as he left. Then the commander called 2 of his officers and ordered, "Get 200 soldiers ready to leave for Caesarea at 9 o'clock tonight. Take 200 spearmen and 400 mounted cavalry. Give Paul a horse to ride and get him safely to Governor Felix." Then he wrote this letter to the governor. "From Claudius Letius to His Excellency, Governor Felix. Greetings. This man was seized by the Jews, and they were killing him when I sent the soldiers to rescue him, for I learned that he was a Roman citizen. Then I took him to their council to try and find out what he had done. I soon discovered it was something about their Jewish beliefs, certainly nothing worthy of imprisonment or death. But when I was informed of a plot to kill him, I decided to send him on to you, and I will tell his accusers to bring their charges before you." So that night, as ordered, the soldiers took Paul to Antipatris. They returned to the armory next morning, leaving him with the cavalry to take on to Caesarea. When they arrived at Caesarea, they presented Paul the letter to the governor. He read it and then asked Paul where he was from. "Syria," Paul answered. "I will hear your case fully when your accusers arrive," the governor told him, and ordered him kept in the prison at King Herod's palace. And that concludes Acts 23. Hope that was very interesting for you. Bit of development, bit of military action, and I like how it revealed a bit of the Jewish division that was going on with the religion at the time. Some of them like refusing to believe in the eternal at all, and others were like fully into it. But at any rate, Paul managed to get out alive so far. When we come back next week, we'll have Acts 24, and throughout the week, we'll continue to enjoy playing some games here at KonfluxGames. Thanks for listening. God be with you, and yes.